What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Bruiser here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are on the test server here today, but we're not going to play test any brand new champions. We're actually going to take a look at one of the oldest champions in the game and how they can help us in one of the hardest areas in the game. Now, first, I want to give a huge shout out to one of my commenters on my YouTube videos, No Name. He actually directed me to this type of strategy, and so I want to give him a quick shout out here. But basically, what we're going to be talking about in this video is how an epic that can be acquired fully free to play can tackle one of the hardest areas in the game, and that's going to be Sandevil 25. Sandevil is one of the worst dungeons in the game because it's so restrictive on what you can use to farm stage 25. It's either Godseeker and Eerie or one-shot teams with multiple newts and max HP champions. The other way to do stage 25 is to cheese it or to do some kind of revive on death full team. Now, this video, we're going to be focusing on one epic that can do it by itself with food, if I may add. Keep in mind, even though the champion is free to play accessible, the gear is pretty advanced, so stay chilled on those expectations, guys. So what am I talking about? What is this magical champion here? And I'm going to direct you guys to this. The Rasen fusion that everyone has access to at the beginning of the game will give you one of these champions to complete Sandevil stage 25, and it's going to be Torturehelm. Torturehelm is the one right here, this force affinity epic on the far right hand side where my cursor is right now. You can fuse him with 4 rares. As long as you haven't fused Rasen yet, you can fuse him with 4 rares, have one in the bank, and have him ready just in case the worst thing to happen to you is if you have absolutely no options to deal with Sandevil 25 in the future. At least you have this guy. So what is his deal? What is his deal and why is he so good? So he's from the Orc faction here. He is an epic. He's force affinity, so he's neutral affinity against the stage 25 Sandevil. And you know what? He has really good base stats for a, epic champion. Just under 20k HP, and he has the boosted crit damage here as well. His A1 has a chance to steal random buff from the target. The damage is proportional to attack and defense. His A2, attack single target. His damage proportional to his max HP and increases according to the number of dead allies. This works really well when you start packing on some food. But the big thing about Torturehelm that allows him to do stage 25 is his passive. 3-turn cooldown, it revives him with 50% HP when he is killed. Now, obviously, the Sandevil, the big AoE wipe, is strong enough to kill basically any champion. You can't tank it. But having these kind of passives allow them to come back into the fight, which makes these types of strategies viable. He has an HP in dungeons aura, which works for him because the Sandevil is a dungeon, so he's going to get some additional HP there. Anyways, guys, let's show you guys the run here real quick, and then I'll show you guys the gear and setup. All right, let's jump into it. So we're going to go into the Sandevil. It's 25, like I said. He's going to be neutral affinity. And make sure you guys run food with him, of course. He's going to be the leader. No presets are needed. And we're just going to jump into it here. So letting it run. Ideally, this is a team run that you run overnight. That's the only thing you can really do. Set for, level 4 food or level 5 food or whatever. And let it run overnight. Because these runs are not going to be fast. These runs are not going to be fast. Depending on the strength of your gear, you might get a little bit faster because you can have crits, bigger crit hits, for example. Otherwise, you're just relying on War Master to happen. If you're just relying on War Master, obviously it's going to take a little bit of time. But if you have some additional damage stats, then it's going to be a little bit faster. So it's basically just going to be like this for a little while here. As you can clearly see, he heals twice. He heals twice there. That's kind of a big deal. The healing twice allows him to cover the max HP deficit that he loses. And he needs to be able to tank a crit hit from the big AoE after he awakens. And from what I've seen, he hits for about 80 to 90k. 80 to 90k HP based on the amount of defense that I have on my Torturehelm. I don't have that much. You can kind of see there that he was hitting for about 50, 55k for non-crits. But this is how it's going to go, guys. It's just going to go like this. He's just going to keep pegging away at the Sandevil. See about 53k there on a non-crit. But he's going to get the job done. He's going to get the job done. And if you have no other options, Torturehelm is a savior, especially since this is a requirement for the Marius missions. So it's very, very awesome that we have access to this champion. And he can do this for us. Like I said, guys, the build and gear might not be accessible to everybody, but if you're lacking the champion and you have the gear, this is a great option for you guys. And of course, Torturehelm has some other usage too. I believe he can handle a lot of, what can he do? He can do clan boss teams. I think he can even like clear Nightmare campaign if you're struggling there, like to deal them more too. What else can he do? And he can hit kind of decent, actually. He hits kind of decent. He scales off attack, HP, and defense. It's a very strange champion. Very strange champion. You can kind of see here, it just works like clockwork. So anyways, guys, we're going to let this thing run out. I'm going to come back near the end of it, and then we'll go over some more details about his build. So be right back. All right, guys, we're nearing the end of the run here with our Torturehelm, just about 12 minutes. Like I said, guys, this is not a run that you guys want to do basically as a speed run. It's basically a run you want to do while you're at work or while you're sleeping. Just about 12 minutes here. I'll show you guys exactly the build I'm working with. About 500 turns. It's not the best, obviously not the best team to do like turn attack tournaments with. But when you have no other option, this guy gets the job done. I'll show you guys the build here, how we can improve it, what are the minimums, and some additional details that you guys probably would like to know. So let's quickly take a look here at our Torturehelm. So he is in Regeneration and Immortal. I found that both are kind of needed to help him stay alive. In terms of the overall stats, there is some wiggle room here. Let's check out his build stats here. So I got 100k HP on him. Obviously, you can empower your Torturehelm if you have multiple Torturehelms. I don't have any Torturehelms, so no empowerment here. I didn't have a blessing either, so you can add some additional stats here. If you have a 1-star on him, that's a very easy 1-star blessing for some extra HP, which gives him some extra damage as well. I would suggest to go Phantom Touch as the 1-star blessing. It does give you a very little bit extra damage, so it'll speed up the run a bit. I did give him a small relic here, just a 3-star Talon. It's supposed to give him a little bit more damage, but honestly, it's 20% chance to deal 10% more damage that he's dealing, and he's not dealing a lot, so it's not that much damage. Most of his damage will be coming from War Master, so I did master him out. War Master is the key damage mastery here. Unfortunately, it is tier 6. You take all the DPS damage masteries down here on the left-hand side. Support, not super relevant, but taking Spirit Haste is very, very strong. Obviously, you get some additional speed. Wrath of the Slain is going to be better here because you're getting a boosted attack from your dead allies. Unfortunately, you need to get masteries on him unless you want to basically have like 30-minute runs or fails exceeding the 1500 turn count. I think that might be a reality if you don't have War Master on him. Good thing about him, you don't have to invest any books. So that run, 12 minutes, didn't take any books. You definitely could invest some books here. You get a bit of damage here. You get a bit of damage here. You also get a little bit more of his A2, so 3-turn cooldown, which probably would speed things up a little bit. Like I said, if you take Phantom Touch, it's going to speed things up a little bit. And or if you have better stats than I do, I'll show you guys the gear here real quick. Obviously, some pretty good gear to hit some of these stats here. We got quite a bit of HP. We got good speed. We did give him a little bit of crit rate and crit damage so he can hit a little bit harder. I did notice that it was significant once I gave him some more crit damage, so the run was a bit faster. If you can't give him some additional damage stats, then it's going to be a little bit slower here. Now, as for the overall stats, the faster he goes, the more damage he's going to do, the more healing he will get. The big problem is trying to survive some of the big hits, because he does hit pretty hard on the AoE after he shakes out of his sleep. I would recommend at least 80k HP with this amount of defense. If you have more defense, you can cut away some of your HP. Now, Torturehelm does get damage from defense, so it's probably a good idea to do that. Just the way my gear is laid out, I got a lot of HP as opposed to defense. And with these stats, the Sandevil was critting for up to 90k. So it would leave me with about 10k, but at this speed, I was fast enough to recover, and there was really no issue or danger for this type of build. Now, I ran this build much slower. I ran it down to 235 with about 80k HP, and at that point, it was failing. However, I think 80k HP with 270 plus speed and a bit more defense, you can probably get away with that kind of build. Now, alternatively, you could run like a 300 speed Torturehelm with maybe 75k HP or 80k HP. It really depends on how you separate the stats, HP and defense and speed. I would recommend at least 270 speed. The Sandevil himself is 270 speed, so just to keep up with the Sandevil, I would say at least 270 speed. It's not so much that his passive needs turns to recover. His passive only needs 3 turns. You can get 3 turns very easily with this amount of speed. The speed really helps with him recovering because you need him to stay alive from taking all that damage. So the speed really helps there. Otherwise, there's not really too much to build. Just regen, immortal. You probably don't want to. Maybe you could put some counterattack masteries on him. Or you can put some counterattack accessories on him so he can deal some additional damage. That would be especially useful if you have Phantom Touch and War Master on, so you get some additional big hits in. You might encounter some issues if you don't have enough healing. For example, if you cut the Immortal set, you might run into some issues where the max HP slowly starts chipping away at your overall health, and then eventually you'll get into the one-shot range, and then you get one-shot by an unlucky crit. So just make sure that you watch that the max HP being destroyed is being recovered after he is revived. So that's one of the things that I've noticed as well. Again, having a slightly faster Torturehelm with the faster healing can definitely help alleviate some of the max HP. Otherwise, like I said, there's not really too much to the build. This build is definitely going to be useful in a lot of different areas. For example, if you're struggling just climbing through like faction wars, just keeping people alive, this is a really strong build. You can also repurpose this build for another champion. Regen, immortal, very versatile, fast, of course. But ultimately, you're using an epic that doesn't require any books. Unfortunately, you need to put the masteries in, but no books required. And you know, this epic can handle one of the hardest dungeons in the game at the highest levels, allowing you to get access to Marius. And it's a super restrictive dungeon, and that's the problem, right? But Torturehelm allows you to do it, albeit very slowly, but at least you get 4 food out of it. So now you can do these Ascension tournaments where you can do Sandevil or Shogun, and now you can actually farm Sandevil at stage 25 with food overnight if you want, or complete your Marius missions. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate your time as always. I really appreciate No Name for giving me the idea for doing this video, so thank you so much for that. Hopefully this is helpful for some of you guys out there that's really struggling with Sandevil stage 25. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching again, and have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.